This is the drive home with TT for the Mill drive home. Driving home from work, unfortunately, in central London. Not from the den, not from any ground around England, from work. But I thought I'd give an update. I thought I'd tell you what I've been doing. I thought I'd comment a little bit on what's going to happen in the future, when's football going to return, what I think should happen. Because, quite frankly, I've got an hour's drive home. It makes sense to do something. You know, I've been driving to and from work quite a lot, not wanting to get on public transport. So I've had plenty of opportunity to do it, but you don't know whether anyone's going to be interested in what you've got to say. But before I say anything of any note, I want to say that, you know, I miss the Mill family, I miss the Mill community, I miss talking to people at the ground, and yeah, we've got to stay home, we've got to protect people, and you know, people are going to lose family members, and coronavirus is no bloody joke. You know, thousands of people on ventilators that are not breathing for themselves tells you how bad it is. But we'll get through it like we get through everything else, and then we'll look to see where that leaves us. You know, the future is going to be, the near future is going to be different to what we have known it, certainly with regards to football, until we basically find the vaccine. Once we find a vaccine, we've got every chance of going back to normal life as we knew it before the coronavirus started. But until then, we just have to make do with what we've got and make the best of it. You know, I'm training my boys on Zoom sessions, so we still have that interaction, doing football training with them, and that's one way of connecting. And you know, if the two big questions really with regards to football, one, when should it return, and should the current competitions that are going be finished, and two, when it does return, in what capacity will it happen, and who will be allowed to go and view it. Now, I've got very, as you can imagine me, very strong opinions on what I think should happen. I strongly believe that we shouldn't rush back. There's no point in rushing back. You know, I always believe in proper planning and make sure you do things the right way so that you don't have to go back and have to do it again. You know, there's talk of if we rush it too much, we're going to have a second peak and all that rubbish. I want to look forward to something, look forward to football and know that it's back and it's back properly. Do I think that the current competitions should be finished? Yes. There is no rush. You know, if we have to take until October or November or December to finish the current league, to finish the Champions League and the FA Cup, then that's what should happen. You should. I'm fully against teams that have worked hard. You know, all through the lower leagues, you can see it. Teams have worked hard all season. Some teams 13 points clear, and I won't get into the politics of Liverpool and all that, but we're talking at the moment where the decisions have been made. Teams have worked hard all season, put themselves in great positions to challenge for promotion or to win a trophy, and they've just scrapped everything that they've done. And I don't believe that's right, because why put a time frame on it? Why say it has to be done by a specific time? Because next season may well be delayed anyway, and then you have a shortened competition. The rules are set at the start, so even if we start the next league, so if we finish this one, we start the next league in say January, maybe we have half a league. Maybe you set the rules and you don't play home and away. Luck of the draw, you play some teams at home and some teams away. That's you have a shortened version of a season next year, but you finish the current one because so much work, effort and money has gone into it. I don't see how teams that, like we said, the Liverpools, the Leeds and the Mill, we're 2 points off the playoffs. Why would I want this year to be scrapped? There's no reason for it to be scrapped other than the fact that you want to get ready for next year. But next year we don't know, next season we don't know when that's going to start either. So it seems to me that what we do is whenever we can, and I'll go on to what I want to happen once it does start up, but I fully believe we should finish the seasons. At no stage should they go, they end the season where it is, they give Liverpool, like they have done in other countries, I think it's done in Belgium, but they end the league and they give whoever's top or whoever's third, you finish third. That's ridiculous in my opinion. You can't give Liverpool the league, you can't give Leeds the league at the moment because they haven't won it. It's quite simple. You don't, by by their effort, the team that are in the quarterfinals, if there's 8 teams still going for the quarterfinals of the FA Cup, what do you give them all the cup? There's 8 teams that could get the playoffs, so why do you specifically choose 4? For me, it makes no sense. You can only award a competition, you can only award a trophy if it's been won, and no trophy's been won at the moment, so you definitely can't give it at the moment to anybody. You can't finish the league and go, the teams that are in 3rd, 4th, 5th and 6th at the moment are the teams that get to the playoffs, because it's a 38 game league, or a 42, depending on what league you're in. You play that amount of games. And I made the point specifically on Twitter about Millwall. I know we are poor against the lower teams, but in our last 8 games, 5 of them are against the bottom 5. We've got 5 against the bottom 6, sorry. So the bottom 6 teams, we've got 5 of them to play, which I know notoriously we're bad at, but we haven't got a single team in the top 8. So you would say that we have an easier run in, which means that previous to that, we've had quite a strong game of fixtures, a run of fixtures. So why does that mean that we then have to take the hard ones and we don't get to play technically the easy ones? I know that we're slightly different to most teams because of, obviously, we normally do well against the better teams and not so well against the lower teams. But the point stands that you have to play everyone for the season to be finished. And then, so I do believe the current season should be finished in its entirety. I don't believe that about the rubbish that you're seeing about subs and all of that. It has to be how it was set out. The league started the way it started, it should finish the way it finished. And however long that takes, however long it takes. And then I'll go on to my second point about playing it behind closed doors. As a Millwall fan, now there are many teams that, although their fans are entitled to go and watch, and they should be. My big point is that at Millwall, I feel like the crowd makes a massive difference. Therefore, we will be definitely hampered at the least, and I feel like it would completely ruin our chances of, if they did finish all the games, playing it behind closed doors. It's artificial. You know, football is not supposed to be fake. It's not supposed to be, you're not supposed to take away everything around the actual game. The game is the most important thing. Whether it's on TV, whether it's not on TV, the game of football is the most important thing. But the atmosphere, the conditions, the stadium, the length of the pit, the length of the grass, the water on the grass, everything makes a difference. And that will depend on whether you're at home. And the fans have a massive role to play in that. There's no doubt that Millwall, when we're on a good run and the den's packed, we know that the figures that bear it out, that I think we've won like 85% of the games when the den is 85% full, and that's because the atmosphere. You know, so you play it behind closed doors against weaker opposition, which technically it's been, because you don't know what's going to happen after it. But it completely skews the trophy, and then makes it pointless. It makes it not worth continuing. So I 100% believe that if we do go back, we have to go back to when the fans can be in there. And if that takes 2 months, it takes 2 months. If it takes 4 months, it takes 4 months. But I don't think we should half-arse it and get back to a position where, yes, I know for the armchair fan, it'd be great to have a bit of football on, but you won't believe me, you will not like it. It's not the same watching a game of football. You know, how many people would like listening? You know, they could get rid of the commentators, they could get rid of people talking about it, but you have to listen to the sounds of the crowd that sway how you're feeling about it. Football's an emotional game. Don't get me wrong, most sports are, but football's an emotional sport. You're part of it, and if you take away the fans that at the game, you take away the atmosphere, and I think it completely destroys not only the sport on the pitch, but it destroys the spectacle off of it. And so I believe that fans should come back. I then have the further point of, when we do go back to football, you know, there was, like I said about the subs thing, it's going to be different because the players are all out of shape. They're all out, regardless of what they're doing at home. You know, they're not having contact play. Do they get a pre-season, like a mini pre-season? All of those decisions have to be made, but they'll be made when we know more. Like I said, I hate the politicians going on about we have to listen to the scientists. We have to listen to the science. I think there's hundreds of scientists with hundreds of different ideas and hundreds of different ways of doing things. So the scientists, they don't all agree on the same thing anyway. So we have to wait until everyone basically is singing from the same hymn sheet, and then we can make a decision as to what happens with football, what happens with travelling on trains, what happens in terms of social distancing. And at the moment, that's not right. You know, people should be staying away and it's not going to be for too much longer. In terms of the lockdown, as hard as it is now, that is going to go without a doubt. But what isn't going to go is the social distancing thing, and that's where the crowds come into play. You know, is 1 in 3 Millwall fans going to get to come back because of the social distancing? Who do they choose to come back? And this is just about football. You know, which is a small thing, but this is a football channel, and this is why I'm talking about it, because for me, it should only come back when we're good and ready, and there's no chance of us having to deal with this all over again. I'd like to know what your comments are, what you think should happen after the lockdown. Do you think we should come back to 1 in 3 fans, so a maximum of 2,000 fans in the stadium, and like, how do you think that's going to work? And then, you know, like I said, you try and keep yourself busy. I've been having to go to work, defined as a key worker. I don't talk about my job, and I don't want to talk about it now, because I try and keep my Millwall life and my professional life completely separate. But it's been difficult. You know, the emotional attachment that you have to the football and sport in general, it's very hard to replicate and replace. But it's only short term. I know 3 months, 6 months, a year seems like a massively long time. But after it's all done, it'll be something like anything else that we look back on and go, do you remember that time when we couldn't go out? Do you remember when football was finished? Do you remember when we didn't have this? Do you remember when we didn't have that? But it's going to come back, and when it comes back, we'll be raring to go, and we'll appreciate it even more than we did before this whole started. If you want any more videos, if you want any more content, obviously Zach's at home. He's being homeschooled, which adds its own challenge, and I've set my boys some homework to compare themselves to the footballer they think they're most like, and then put it down. And you know, we're trying to keep ourselves busy. So if you'd like any more content, if you actually want to watch, if you want my views on certain things, then put it in the comments, and I'll get that done. If not, I think I've said all I need to say for now, but it's been great speaking to you all. Put a like if you're not subscribed to the channel, subscribe to the channel. Thanks for watching. We'll be back soon enough, don't you worry. And no one likes us, we don't care.